Yeah, I remember running up the stairs, and I'd never cleared stairs that fast, but we had a dog, so they just let the dog, and we tried to, basically the dog was like a fur missile. And they were just sprinting up to the top while pulling security, and I was like... Austria JAGDKOMMANDO, these guys were good. They were probably the best unit we worked with on this entire show.
You mean in terms of what?
Skill.
Skill, okay.
Skill level, like just as far as like what they do and how good they are at it. So this was the only tier 1 unit that we worked with. Now everyone's tier scales are different, but when I was here, I felt like I was back in regiment, but these guys just did more skill sets.
Nice.
So this was like probably the closest I got to being back, you know, in the US of A.
Did they provide the gear? Look at all this gear you have. They're the ones that provided that for you?
Yeah, we showed up. They just immediately, they took us to their home base and just like, you know, when you show up to a new unit, they just give you your issue. They issued us everything because up until this point, I think this is episode 4 or 5 we filmed. We had such an issue with gear. We're always like, the unit doesn't give us the right gear. Like we're always, if you notice, I'm always wearing my own stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the unit wouldn't provide us the proper gear, or they'd provide us gear and it didn't fit, or we didn't have time to adjust it to us. They just expected us to wear it. So, you know, all of us kind of brought our own stuff. But yeah, these guys were like, here is everything you'll possibly need. So that was super nice of them, because in the Alpines and the mountain environment, gear matters,
yeah,
you know?
man, it makes it life or death, I imagine.
Yeah. You know, we did a little bit of skiing in Sweden, and here was like mainly snowshoeing, but I also skied here. But the difference in gear in Sweden, we had wooden skis. Here we had like top of the line tier 1 skis.
Okay.
It made such a difference.
Oh really? The new and the old?
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. Big time. We're doing this combat climbing. Okay. Dude, I did not miss this from my time in the military. In Ranger school. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you did you got to do the mountaineering in the mountain phase.
Yeah, in mountain phase you do a lot of climbing, like combat climbing, and but you don't do it in full. This is the first time I did it with a weapon, with gear. In mountain phase you do it like slick. You can send up a climber slick, and then once he puts all the anchors in, you just basically set up a 2-to-1 and haul everybody's gear up. You can do it this way. These guys are just like, we're going up. Damn. And it was one of the most impressive like feats of skill I've ever seen.
He's like a mountain goat. He's
literally. Yeah, he goes up. He has no safety line. He's not attached to anything. He's free climbing this wall. And when I get on and he sets all the anchor points in, when I get on, if I didn't have that rope attaching me, like there are numerous points where I had to like just rely on the rope to just like let go of the wall and just swing over, because there was no place for me to put my feet.
Oh my God.
Obviously, he proves me wrong, but you can just tell that these guys have like been born into this skill set. Yeah, it was terrifying. I hate heights.
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan either. Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
Plus you have your ruck on and your weapon, it's snagging on everything, and your ruck is kind of the weight of it's pulling you back. Yeah, this was probably one of the most physically demanding things we had to do in Austria.
It's like 90 minutes too, right?
Yeah,
like
it took a long time.
You guys all kind of did it about 90, 95 minutes or so.
Yeah, so, but we had to wait for each other. It wasn't like we could just go up to the top. It was like, you know, we still had to do it tactically, so it's not a race up there. You have to. It's like we're bounding up this mountain.
Okay.
So once I got to the point, I would sit there and wait for Ryan to come, and then wait for the other climbers, and then basically I would bound up, and we'd all clip into the same source. But yeah, it was just super sketchy.
Oh my gosh.
Plus I had the wrong gloves on. I'm just wearing like little liners, so my hands were just completely frozen. Yeah, I had to stop right there and be like, okay, here we go.
I'll collect yourself.
Yeah, take a tactical pause, because that first little ascent, it was all just loose snow, and I didn't clear out any of it, so I just kept sliding down. But yeah, I managed to make my way up to the top, and then that first part was the scariest by far, because that was a straight up climb. The rest was just like a very heavy incline to where I'm like crawling on all fours, and if I stood up, I'd start falling back.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a really cool experience for sure. They introduced me to their snow quads. Like I did quads. I did an entire course and regiment on quads and Razor vehicles, but I never did it in the snow with tracks on.
Yeah, I love these looks like some sort of G.I. Joe toy.
Oh yeah, they're super cool. They were super awesome, and they were really effective in the snow. This was a little bit of a tragic event for me, and this is where, remember when I told you like they'd give us gear and just expect it to work?
Yeah.
And didn't give us time, so like, not making any excuses here. But I am a good shot, okay? One of my skills, one of my strengths is marksmanship. We did different variations of this too. Like the first variation They had targets all the way up to 300 meters, and we did like a break contact. So I was shooting behind him off the quad at targets, and I was missing everything.
Oh, no.
Every single shot was like, where the hell is this going? We had limited time while filming this.
Yeah.
And I took a second, and I'm like, I'm missing everything. There's no way I'm missing it. Because these targets are like 150, 200 meters. So I put my dot on, and I start like kind of seeing where my bullets are impacting. So since the targets were on top of the barrier, they were flying way overhead, about like 3 meters or 4 meters over the target and to the right. So I didn't realize that until I started shooting the ground at the base of that little berm, and all my bullets were impacting. So basically, I started having to guess where my bullets were going.
Dang, man.
Yeah. So
on the fly.
Yeah, so this guy, he's really cool. He was a great shooter. I'm like, the gun's not zeroed. He's like, it is zeroed. I zeroed it myself. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then I handed him, he's like, oh, Scheiße. Yeah, he's like, Scheiße, this gun is not zeroed. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? It's just one of those TV things where we just didn't have time to redo it with my zero. Like, I got another gun and it was zeroed, and they were like, we gotta go, man. And I was like, fine, I'll look like a terrible shooter to the rest of the world. That's okay with me. It's all good, though. It is what it is. So this radio tower hit, actually a little bit of behind the scenes here.
It's very Inception. Like up in the Misty Mountains.
Yeah, it was cool. To be honest, I actually wasn't there. I ended up I was there for like the patrolling and everything. If you notice, I'm on skis and everybody else is on snowshoes. There's very few people with skis on. And that's because I was literally supposed to halo jump with the Austrians into the Alps and land in the snow.
Oh man, what happened? That's amazing. I'm
Yeah.
jealous.
Oh no, so I'm not Halo qualified, but one of the capabilities of the JAGDKOMMANDO is they can jump in assets tandem.
Okay.
So I was going to be attached to one of the master jumpers, and we were going to jump all our kit into the snow and then meet Dean and Ryan there. We're at the airfield. The jump got canceled 3 times for bad weather. So at one point I was in the plane. The ramp was down, and we were standing on the edge of the ramp, ready to go, and they could not find a pocket to jump through to get, because we were jumping on top of this mountain in the Alps, and if you notice how cloudy it is, they couldn't do it safely. So 3 separate times we tried to do it, and it just didn't work. So I ended up pulling security, and Ryan and Dean got to take down the thing. But also, another behind the scenes is they forgot about Ryan and his OP. They had to take like a shuttle up to the top of this mountain. This radio tower was like on one of the highest points in the Alps.
Wow.
Ryan was in an OP because he was a sniper. When the production was over, they forgot about Ryan. So Ryan and this other Austrian sniper were just freezing their ass off for hours up there. And they're like, oh my God, we forgot about Ryan. And
my God.
And he's like, you guys forgot about us.
That's awesome. So this is the final field training exercise.
Yeah, so the final mission here, super unique opportunity. This is actually a real life nuclear facility. It's fully functional. It was just decommissioned I think when they built it, because they spent all this money building it, and then they realized, they're like, oh, is this bad for the environment? We don't want it.
Oh, no. Yeah. Come on,
So
Austria.
everything in there was time period correct.
Wow.
From the 70s. So when we were in there, it was like you were in Stranger Things, because everything was like, there was buttons and lights and old retro phones, but it was just, that's how it was during that time, and they just left it and never torn it down.
Oh, wow.
So the JAGDKOMMANDOs always train on this thing, but it's multiple stories, it's ginormous, it's like a big thing. We did a little half, which is a helicopter assault force, and we had one team on fast roping on the rooftop, and then Dean and I were going to basically get dropped right in front and just assault with another team from the JAGDKOMMANDO and take out the guards and then just beat feet up to the top level, which was so exhausting. These guys are fast.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember running up the stairs, and I've never cleared stairs that fast, but we had a dog, so they just let the dog, and we tried basically the dog was like a fur missile, and they were just sprinting up to the top while pulling security, and I was like, we had to do this numerous times too for the camera angles.
For the camera angles.
Yeah, so yeah, they let the dog go. We climbed four sets of stairs in full kit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so all of us are just gassed, and we did it multiple times. I was like about to throw up. After we cleared the top, we got intel that there were hostages in the basement, and there was a couple ways we skinned this. Like, we all went down and cleared it. They wanted to act like an ID went off, and then at this point, I was acting as the medic. I have the backpack on when I didn't have it before. We have a guy there, and in reality, I strip him like I'm doing everything, and when it comes down to do the chest tube, they switch them out for a dummy.
Oh, okay. So you can actually cut in or whatever and get that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So then I start doing the chest tube on the guy, on the dummy. But to be honest, I totally forgot how to tie the knot. So I was struggling so much, and it took a little long. So I'm like, you know what? Screw this. I just took a halo seal, I slapped it on the chest, and then we replaced the guy back and we carried him out of there. I was like, dude, I'm sorry guys, like I cannot remember how to tie this knot.
It's been a minute.
So yeah, we made it work, because like they show us doing the chest tube, and then we're like, why would we open all this chest tube stuff and just put a halo seal on it?
Oh, okay.
So it just was one of those things. But yeah, this was an awesome final mission. Talking with the JAGDKOMMANDO guys, they're like, yeah, this is usually an entire day assault. Because there are so many levels to this thing. Like typically you wouldn't just go straight to them. You had to clear the entire thing out. But it was just not possible to do that.
So you got a good sampling of the kind of things they do.
Yeah, but these guys were hard chargers. They were, like I said, they're the tier 1 force in Austria, and they are just really good at their jobs. It was an honor to work with them.